deliberations. An expert panel discussion from gender statistics to gender equality policy will be taking place at 12:45 to 1:45 in this room. That expert panel will be moderated by our friend from the ILO, Mr. Tite Habiake. So I urge all of the members to please attend that meeting. And second is to note that tomorrow morning a side event will be taking place, Geospatial Information and the Data Revolution, a quick win for sustainable development in Asia Pacific. You should have some flyers in front of you with more information, but the event will involve a few short presentations by regional experts on exciting geospatial work being done around Asia Pacific region. So hopefully we'll see all of you there tomorrow for that event as well. So with those two short announcements, I would like to hand over to the chair.
Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, wish you all a very good morning. I hope you're all rested, had a restful evening, and that we are fully recharged for these deliberations today. So this morning we will continue our consideration of the regional initiatives, beginning with the agenda item 3F, modernization of statistical production and services. For this, there's one document in the agenda item submitted by the Strategic Advisory Body for the Modernization of Statistical Production and Services in Asia Pacific, SABAP. Modernization of Statistical Production and Services in Asia and the Pacific, E/ESCAP/CST4/8. I would like to invite Mr. Marco Javaresk of the ESCAP Statistics Division to the rostrum.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, Japan, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning to everybody. And I'm so sorry to disturb your some procedure. So before coming to the agenda item 3F, so please allow me to make short intervention on disaster statistics, because the agenda item was initially expected this morning, so according to the program. So with reference to the third UN World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction, which ended last week in Sendai City, Japan, we wish to inform distinguished participants in the fourth session of the Committee on Statistics as follows. Over 6,500 delegates participated in the intergovernmental and multi-stakeholder events, and over 40,000 attended the public forum. 187 states were officially represented. Over 25 heads of states, vice president, and heads of government attended. 100 participants were at the ministerial level. Moreover, 42 intergovernmental organizations, 236 NGOs, 38 UN entities, and over 300 private sector representatives attended. The international press was represented by 900 accredited journalists. The conference adopted the new international framework for coming 15 years. It's named Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction 2015 to 2030 as the guide to enhance our efforts for the future, including 7 global targets. 4 priority areas were also agreed, focusing on better understanding of disaster risk, strengthened disaster risk governance, more investment in disaster risk reduction for resilience, and enhanced preparedness. The priority 1, understanding disaster risk, contains specific reference to disaster statistics. We believe new international framework reaffirms and gives additional strong mandate to ESCAP Resolution 70/2 on disaster statistics. I'm also pleased to mention that taking the opportunity of World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction, the establishment of Global Center for Disaster Statistics was announced on 15th March during the side event co-hosted by Tohoku University, UNDP, and UNESCAP. We hope our cooperation will be further strengthened in this regard. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Japan, for that. So now I will move on to the agenda item tabled for today on the modernization. So may I invite Mr. Marco Javarovsk to give the introduction from ESCAP.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to introduce this agenda item on behalf of the Chair of the Strategic Advisory Body for Modernization of Statistical Production and Services in Asia and the Pacific. Policymakers and the public need accurate, relevant, representative and timely statistics, production of which is the primary responsibility of national statistical offices and organizations. However, national statistical offices do not have the monopoly to produce statistics. There are many other actors that produce competing statistics. Although we may question the accuracy of some of these outputs, it is undeniable that some of these statistics are more timely, more easily accessible, and better promoted. So how should we respond? We propose an approach that actively uses our strength and resources to modernize our statistical products and make our production processes sufficiently flexible and agile to provide statistics according to our needs and according to user needs and to an acceptable cost. Modernized statistical products need to reflect the information society, use new technologies and new data sources, and need to be produced through standardized processes. This in turn will lead to improved quality through more reliable, relevant, and timely statistics. National statistical organizations need to shift their emphasis to act as data communicators, data analyzers, and data quality assurers, rather than data collectors. Therefore, the Strategic Advisory Body for Modernization of Statistical Production and Services in Asia and the Pacific would invite the Committee on Statistics to provide guidance on and support the current priority areas and the future work by reaffirming the importance of regional collaboration on modernization of statistical services, statistical production and services, by encouraging members to advocate for the modernization of statistical production and services at the national and regional levels, as well as integrate modernization into their statistical development plans, such as the National Strategy for the Development of Statistics. By appealing to international organizations working on statistical capacity building to include modernization in their activities and plans, and also by encouraging the members of the committee to nominate technical experts to participate in the work of the modernization working group on the regional level. The committee, the Strategic Advisory Body would also invite the committee to consider a revision of the terms of reference of the Strategic Advisory Body for Modernization of Statistical Products and Services, paragraph 7, as contained in annex to the paper presented for endorsement. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Javarovsk, for the introduction. Let me now open the floor for comments from distinguished delegates. First on the list of speakers is the distinguished delegate from Republic of Korea. You have the floor now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Statistics Korea well recognizes the importance of modernizing its statistical productions and services, and accordingly, we strongly support the proposals made by the committee. As for fostering regional cooperation on the modernization of statistical productions and services, we believe that many of the countries in the region need more resources and technical assistance in order to carry out the global strategy pursued by high-level group. However, in reality, these much-needed human and financial resources are very limited, and this motivates us to pool our effort to overcome such an obstacle. Consequently, SAP-AP was created to meet those needs, and we'd like to thank SAP-AP and the Modernization Working Group for their effort and hard work under the strong leadership of Australia. Therefore, we strongly encourage all members to actively participate in the work of regional modernization work proposed by SAP-AP with the aim of advancing the progress of the modernization in the region. In addition, we strongly support the revised terms of reference for the advisory body for ensuring adequate representation. We also believe that it is crucial that international organizations such as UN, UNSCAP, World Bank, ADB, and other involved international organizations play a leading role by integrating the modernization element into their capacity building programs. Thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from the Republic of Korea. I'm very happy to note that we have many delegations wishing to speak. So at the same time, we will just try to manage time, so try to be brief and to the point. Next on the list is the distinguished delegate from New Zealand. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. New Zealand welcomes the update report on the modernisation of statistical production and services in Asia and the Pacific, and acknowledges the hard work of the SABAP group and the division, and particularly the very effective chairing of this group by Australia until this point. New Zealand is very supportive of the three aims of the work, namely to raise awareness of the need for and the issues associated with modernisation, to enhance regional collaboration, and to support national modernisation efforts. We also note that this is an initiative that is genuinely cross-cutting across subject domains of statistics. This is important because we've already talked about how we must cooperate better and ensure work is not duplicative between domains. I fully agree with the statement just made by Korea that we should be looking to see modernisation work as part of the number of regional programs that are underway or commencing. And in fact, this initiative opens up possibilities for efficiency and collaboration within NSSs as well as across the region. New Zealand notes that the global agenda for modernisation is complex and ambitious, and we cannot think of an NSO regardless of their level of technical development or regardless of which region of the world they reside in, which is not grappling with the conceptual and technical facets of modernisation. And in fact, this is almost an area where the more advanced an NSO is, it almost becomes a hindrance in terms of modernisation because there's so much that needs to be modernised and so many systems that already exist and processes that have been embedded for a long time that need to be changed. Modernisation programs, as we know, are also very costly and take years to complete, and so need to be planned for very, very carefully. Noting this, New Zealand would encourage regional efforts in this field to focus on three areas. Advocacy to enable NSOs to better make the case for infrastructure modernisation. It can be a very difficult case to make because it's not nearly as appealing as producing, say, more health statistics or implementing SNA08 or something like that. It's a lot more difficult to explain the value and the importance of modernisation. We also encourage efforts to focus on coordination with the other development programs and donors to ensure that infrastructure and process modernisation is accommodated in their work. And most importantly, we seek that NSOs regardless of their level of development or need for modernisation at this point, make decisions about statistical infrastructure that are either compliant with the existing and emerging standards such as GPBSM and CSPAR, or at the very least do not cut off the possibility of being compliant in the future, because it's these global standards that will drive interoperability and efficiency across NSOs and across the global statistical system. In this regard, New Zealand notes the intention of the SABAP group to act as the regional voice in global standard setting mechanisms such as the high-level group. And finally, New Zealand also endorses the new terms of reference, noting the change to paragraph 7, and commends this initiative to members of the region for their participation. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from New Zealand, for that thought-provoking and useful information. Now, I would like to give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Australia.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Australia also thanks the Strategic Advisory Body for the modernisation of statistical production and services in Asia and Pacific for its report. Like most statistical organisations, the ABS operates in a fast-changing and complex information landscape. Users expect more data more frequently. But we are finding it difficult to respond as we are also in a constrained and tight financial situation with ageing systems. In response to these challenges, ABS has embarked on a transformation project which will modernise the way we collect, manage and deliver statistics, and might I also say that it will also modernise how we might go about those operations. We're also facing similar challenges of reducing budgets, increasing expectations and ageing systems. And importantly, statistical organisations do not compete against each other for business, so we can genuinely collaborate together. The advisory body, the SAB-AP, was established to bring together senior officials of statistical organisations committed to promoting modernisation within the region, and we support the proposed amendment to the terms of reference. It is an important group for helping the region transform. The group commissions a range of work, including raising awareness and helping to mobilise financial and human resources. They really are a regional voice representing Asia and the Pacific in global strategic bodies. We're all facing modernisation challenges, though. The nature of these challenges may vary from one country to another. In that sense, modernisation really is a relative term. As a region, there is a lot we can learn from each other, and we need to work together to develop cost-effective methods of modernising. We can learn from the experience and mistakes of others, thus making the path towards modernisation easier for those that will follow when they are in a position to do so. If we work together on these shared challenges, the statistical industry that we all operate in could harness the collective wisdom of staff across the region. Australia would like to thank the committee for the opportunity to chair the Strategic Advisory Body for the modernisation of statistical production and services in Asia and the Pacific, and Mr Trevor Sutton, the Deputy Australian Statistician who was chair of this committee, sends his thanks for your support and the support of the committee. Unfortunately, the Australian Bureau of Statistics is no longer able to commit to be a chair or a member of the advisory group or the supporting modernisation working group. We do look forward, though, to contributing our contribution to modernisation efforts through the global initiatives underway, including the Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics and the high-level group established by the Conference of European Statisticians. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Australia, for the comments and for the active role that Australia has been playing in this regard. Now I call upon the distinguished delegate from Vietnam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, on behalf of Vietnam delegation, I would like to present some benefits and suggestions on implementation of modernization and of statistic production and service. So, in Vietnam, with the support of World Bank, so our modernization project has been implemented since 2007. So, this project concentrated to build an enterprise architecture for General Statistics Office of Vietnam and applied information technology to support statistical production and service, including 4 components. The first one is business architecture. It applies General Statistics Business Process Model, GSBPM. And the second is information architecture. The third one is the application architecture. And the fourth component is the technical architecture. So the implementation of modernization through this process brings about a number of benefits. The first benefit is the statistical information production system. It is synchronized, consistent, complete, and specified. The second is increased data quality and statistic capacity by improvement of statistic technology, method, and common standard to make product and service easier, less resource, and reduce time of data production. That is important point to build a national strategy suitable to with the SDG post-2015. And the third benefit is integration with the international statistics. And the fourth benefit is create standard workflow that is basic to apply information technology deeply and widely and has many other benefits. So with these benefits, modernization of statistic production is one important point to be supplemented in the revision of statistic law in Vietnam, which will be adopted in November this year. So up to now, the modernization working group have produced a modernization questionnaire and document on case study from Malaysia and Vietnam on application and use of GSBPM. It is very necessary that the result of work should be shared to all countries. It will help countries to understand the situation of their statistic capacity, and that is one way to encourage modernization on statistic production and service. Relating to the statistic service, it is important for advisory body to conduct more detailed and deep discussion on increasing capacity of statistic service, including the way to share statistic information. Advisory body program should raise this issue as priority work in the period 2014 to 2016. High-level group or modernization working group may have case study to build material as a guideline about the statistic information dissemination to support countries in Asia and the Pacific. Last point of suggestion, all countries in Asia and Pacific should more actively collaborate at the regional level on modernization of statistic production and service. Each country should consider to nominate staff and experts participate in the modernization working group or even higher level group. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Vietnam, for sharing those, what is going on in your country, which is very interesting. Now I call upon the distinguished delegate from Indonesia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Indonesia supports and welcomes the modernization of statistical production and services, the modernization of NSO and NSS, to have the capacity to produce statistics in line with the new emerging era and new statistic requirements of post-2015 development agendas. In the context of modernization of statistical production would not have, we believe that would not have a great impact on enhancing the role of the NSOs if we not shift the paradigm of statistics, statistical conduct, statistical behavior from mainly as a data collector to information provider. For this transformation, there is a need to transform the work culture from traditionally inward-looking to the new statistic culture of more bridging and more outward-looking. It is urgently to enhance the NSO's business process in all areas of statistical activities. The capacity of communication and the way of presenting data to be more user-friendly. The international and regional collaboration assistance also should be directed toward these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Indonesia. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegate from Sri Lanka.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I like to share my views on this modernization document. I welcome and support this document as we know that there's a high demand for statistics, and we are unable to produce the demands requirement of statistics if we use the traditional data collection ways. So I think we should consider the data collection methodology, incorporating the modern technology for data collection as well. And I think if we adopt a new technology in the region, if we know from each other, then we can invite the as observers to look what is going on in current in some countries in the area. For example, in Sri Lanka, we are going to conduct next DHS survey using CAPI technology. So that is computer-assisted personal interviews. So I think that is a new way of data collection in Sri Lanka. So I think we can we can get the knowledge how to use tablet computers for data capturing and improve the data quality also. So likewise, if any other country use new technology, I like to share, and we can share the knowledge from each other. And that is what I want to share with you. And we have to improve the data capturing. We have to focus on data capturing technology to improve the quality of data. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Sri Lanka. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegates from Singapore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Singapore welcomes the report of the Strategic Advisory Body, SAB, and I would like to commend the SAB and the Modernization Working Group, MWG, on their initial and promising efforts on the advocacy and regional collaboration on the modernization of statistical production and services in Asia and Pacific. In the light of the data revolution, in today's internet age, the importance of modernization cannot be understated. Driven by the increasing demand for more granular data and information on a more timely and more frequent basis, while facing severe resource constraint, most NSOs have little choice but to modernize their statistical collection, processing, and dissemination processes. In this respect, it is important for all of us to engage actively in our advocacy for the modernization of the various statistical processes at both the national, regional, and global levels. As the work and survey carried out by the MWG has shown, resources and capacity are crucial for successful and effective modernization of all the statistical processes. International agencies partnering with national and regional bodies on capacity building should therefore include modernization in the technical assistance and other activities. Singapore appreciates the ongoing work of the SAB and MWG in this important venture and supports their approach and select and identify priority areas. We also welcome the proposal to expand the membership of the SAB and the MWG and to improve their representativeness. And as such, we support the proposed amendment of the terms of reference of the SAB to include in its membership the deputy head or other high-level official with relevant authority in the area of modernization. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Singapore. Now I call upon distinguished delegates from Papua New Guinea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The government of Papua New Guinea support this modernization of statistical production and services. We understand this as modernization as a reform within the national statistical systems, and we believe that outdated statistics and other statistics that we compile, taking on board the modernization, the new technology, and also accepting the new methodologies, new terms of manuals that are available for us to compile the most needed statistics for development purposes. And we believe we will reap great benefits from this reform. The Papua New Guinea NSO now is a leading organization within this reform, which lots of things have been taking place. And I want to highlight a few of those that are taking place, and it will help us a long way towards this process in the next 20 years or so. The notable events that are taking place is NSDS, which our parliament is going to endorse this in May this year, which the government is right behind this process. Also, encouraging the users and the producers of statistics, the formation of selected groups will ensure to help us accomplishing this purpose, talking about the important core statistics. And we are very much aware of what has been taking place within the region and the help from our development partners through the region. Especially, I will name a few of those ones, ABS and SPC, for helping us establish a very vibrant business register at this point in time. And also the IMF regional program, PIFTAC, for helping us implementing a 2008 SNA, which we are very appreciative of that. And so far, IMF, with the help of AVS, has helped us in getting the most administrative data in relation to compiling GDP, the most timely data in this reform place. So currently we have secured and made arrangements, although there are requirements of limitation from the certain organizations have different laws to safeguard their data. But now they have opened up for us, each of these major stakeholders. And so far we have secured the monthly GST data at the unit level, which we are able to compile GDP without any problem at all. And thank you for those developers, the partners within the region put a lot of input for us. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from PNG. I still have 8 more countries wishing to speak on this item, so let's try to manage time. So now I give the floor to distinguished delegate from Pakistan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As we see from the last 2 decades, a paradigm shift in statistical activities. That is, handwritten questionnaires has been transformed into an electronic questionnaire, manual registers has been transformed into updating databases and online, and analysis with calculator has been transformed into ready-made packages, and dissemination through hard printed books has been transformed to online web publications. And data, of course, is transformed into metadata as well. Modernization concept is basically the process of transforming outdated, complicated, and isolated environment to a flexible, approachable, and shareable environment. Modernization is a process which needs NSO's activities to be in harmonized, presentable, easily communicable, and shareable form. As we are in the globalization era, and the world is a globalized village, so global communication and then trading in global commodities, the commodities are considered to be, each commodity in any corner of the world is a global commodity now, and there the statistics importance always occurs. Every NSO is an important member of the international statistical community, and in the regional collaboration, the least developed countries need more assistance because of their lack of capacity and their lack of information technology expertise. Thanks to the initiatives of modernization, thanks to high-level group efforts that provided global modernization solutions, and thanks to UNSD for Global Working Group on Big Data. This committee needs to focus on capacity building initiatives and how to utilize the global initiatives in the regional framework, like strengthening national statistical system, coordination, information flow, and decentralized system, e-collection and data dissemination. I would like to give an example of Pakistan in this case. Pakistan, under National Strategy on Development of Statistics, has already initiated Android and tab application for e-collection and website publication for data dissemination. And particularly, Pakistan is going to publish their data and their products under the logo Statistics Pakistan, which means would be a name of reliability and authenticity. Framework for big data, managing privacy and data security are the big issues, and then how to develop the skills needed to use big data. These are the issues. Pakistan support all kinds of modernization work in the region and support the changes in the TORs of this document. Being a member of the advisory board, Pakistan would urge the regional partners to open their doors for paradigm shift in statistical system. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Pakistan. Now I call upon distinguished delegate from Malaysia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Malaysia, being one of the members country participating in the SAP-AB, fully supports the initiative done towards modernization, the statistical productions and services within the region. In order for the statistical organizations to stay relevant to the modern world, it is important for organizations to transform from traditional data producer to a modern information service provider. In line with the support, Malaysia has also participated in the modernization working group established in August 2014 together with other member countries. We share our experience in applying GSBPM, Generic Statistical Business Process Model, in our system and as a use case which can be referred by other countries. Malaysia is looking forward to participating in other modernization initiative working groups such as Generic Statistical Information Model, GSIM, the Common Statistical Production Architecture, GSPA, and the Data Documentation Initiative, DDI, as well as we are still at the initial stage of implementation of this standard. Malaysia has put modernization issue as part of our statistical capacity building activities, taking into account for further strengthen our application of GSBPM, applying GSIM, GSPA, DDI, and SDM Act, as well as initiative to use big data. Regarding the proposed amendment of the term and reference by SAB, Malaysia agree with the suggestion that enable the deputy head of NSO or other higher level official with relevant authority to be eligible for membership of the advisory body. I would like to take this opportunity to appeal to the international organization working on statistical capacity building to include modernization issue in their activities and plan. This is important in assisting the NSO to accelerate the implementation of standard and framework related to modernization and the coordination with other agencies within the country. The availability of resources, financial and in-kind, is crucial to support the strategy. It is recommended that for the advisory body to meet physically more often rather than communicating through electronic, telephone or video conferencing. This will help members to further understand and share information about their modernization business cases and experiences and how they began their modernization journey. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Malaysia. Still there are 6 countries, so as we have to finish by 10, can you try to make the statements in 2 to 3 minutes, please? Now I give the floor to a distinguished delegate from Azerbaijan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On behalf of Statistics Azerbaijan, we welcome and support the report on modernization of statistical production and statistical services. As you know, that without supporting by high-level managers and without cooperation with international organizations and developed countries, modernization of statistics is very difficult in practice. In this context, develop a regional strategy, mobilize financial and human resources to implement the regional strategy, identifying relevant partners and other stakeholders, provide strategic direction and program of work of network of experts is very important. GSPPM, GSIM and other international standards on the framework of modernization of statistical production is main tool and adopted by the high level supported by the United Nations. But implementation of these standards in practice, as I mentioned, is difficult, especially as you know that implementation processes, depending from many factors, also need advocacy. Implementation process need human resources, developed system, culture, good and tested practice. We extremely support works carried out by ESCAP, Strategic Advisory Body, the work program, and in this context we would like to give attention also. Give more attention exchange of experience not only region countries as well as other region countries and promote the work of modernization, including standards, methods and tools. Providing the training and seminars more intensively and actively, also grow IT experts. Supporting of software components for statistical process by the UNESCAP, sharing of experience of the countries which use software for standardization, especially GSPM. Establish expert group with IT expert for these purposes is very important. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Azerbaijan. Now I call upon distinguished delegate from Samoa.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I will be very brief since most of the main issues have been already being raised. But Samoa acknowledge the different levels of the development of statistics in different countries at this point in time. And with the introduction of the modernization, it will be a very big challenge. However, and the modernization of statistics, Samoa sees it as an ambition sort of look from a statistics perspective, but in our view, it should be ambition in such a way that we can develop on a transitional basis. Samoa also sees this development, modernization of statistics as more refining and improving what has been going on over the years, and particularly the development of the infrastructure, on which is more the focus of the modernization of statistics in terms of improving the statistics infrastructure in particular. And Samoa welcomed the challenges and welcomed the participation in this very good initiative. However, in terms of the proposed sort of strategy or proposed paper, I think Samoa is in a view that everything starts at a country level, and Samoa encourages every country to be the leader in terms of advocating the modernization of statistics at a country level, because this comes with the ownership. And with that sort of ownership there, that will also drive the regional and the donors in such a way that they can bring assistance there. So in saying that, Samoa provides the support for this initiative, and would like to be part if there's any chance that we can be part of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Samoa. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegate from the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to the Strategic Advisory Body for their work. Iran also supports the issues in the report. There are some points to highlight. One, the overall statistical information system consists of 3 layers: production, storage, and dissemination. And the importance of modernization in all 3 layers should be considered. 2, e-government is developing in some countries, and this factor can be used as a leverage to integrate modernization into national strategies for the development of statistics. 3, the modernization of statistical system is a new issue, and there are no sufficient knowledge and experience in the region. And so regional collaboration is very important. Iran has conducted agricultural census in 2014 with using 400 tablets in data collection stage. Also, we want to do this for population and housing census in 2016. There are some useful experience and can be shared to working group or to other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegate from China.
谢谢主席，各位同行，上午好。这个中国呢，高度赞扬战略咨询机构所开展的工作，也同意修订后的这个职权范围。统计生产与服务的现代化建设十分重要。 因为统计面临的挑战，应该说越来越大。一方面呢是被调查对象的合作程度在降低，另一方面呢，这个大数据、互联网、现代通讯，使得统计产品的提供者越来越多，提供的产品和服务也越来越丰富。比方说价格统计，那么现在统计机构可以去编制。 有些电子商务平台网络，他们也可以编制。还比方说，消费数据也是这样子的。所以说呢，面临这样的一个局面呢，加强统计生产和服务的现代化建设是十分重要的，特别是加强区域和全球的合作十分重要。现代化建设呢？ 主要包括2个方面，一个方面呢是国家统计机构的自身建设，另一个方面呢是对社会上各类大数据和依据大数据提供统计产品和服务的机构以及人员呢进行协调和引导，2个方面都十分重要。在这2个方面呢，中国统计机构呢开展了大量的工作。 关于国家统计局 NBS 自身的建设方面呢，我们一方面呢是让被调查对象、大中型的被调查对象都是通过互联网报送他们的统计报表。现在呢，已经将近100万个企业呢直接把他们的报表报给国家统计局。另外呢。 我们还利用手持电子移动终端 PDA 来采集价格资料以及其他资料。我们在开展全国经济普查第3次经济普查的时候呢，也是利用 PDA， 让普查员直接把企业的信息传给国家统计局，而且呢，我们是利用这个。 地理信息系统来划分普查小区，也取得了很好的成功。此外，我们在利用遥感技术来统计农产品的产量，在试图利用云计算来整合统计 生产能力方面也都做了一些探索。还有呢，就是统计产品的发布方面，我们也在越来越多的重视利用互联网，以及呢移动终端、移动数据库来为公众提供服务。我们的微信、官方微信和微博呢，也都在开始。中国在这个现代化建设方面呢，还有一个特色，就像这个咨询机构提出来的那样，我们在数据的分析和解读方面呢，有这样的传统。那么现在呢，更加强了这个方面的工作，就是每个月、每个季度、每年度的经济分析，在社会上呢，也是占有一席之地的。那么此外呢，国家统计局还致力于在利用传统的数据搜集渠道的同时，做好呢利用大数据来搜集有关的统计信息，形成统计产品和服务。比方说，我们的 PPI 现在就是在利用电子商务平台来搜集数据，来补充我们 PPI 的这个编制和生产。这个关于第二个方面呢，国家统计局也做了一些工作，与数十家电子商务企业签订了战略合作的合同。我们互相之间呢，交换数据，并且对他们生产出来的数据呢，进行一些引导和整合。总而言之，国家统计局呢，中国国家统计局愿意在统计的生产和服务的现代化方面呢，做出自己应有的贡献，也同时呢，希望得到同行们的支持和国际组织的帮助。谢谢。
Thank you, distinguished delegate from China. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegate from India. Kindly be brief.
Thank you, Madam Chair. India acknowledges with a sense of deep appreciation the fact that the members of the advisory body also discussed the ADB ESCAP SDMX capacity building initiative and expresses its satisfaction that the platform would be tried for national accounts and BOP statistics from 4 countries. India proposes to have this platform included in the agenda for the regional collaboration post-2015 and also tried for international trade and for dissemination of data, metadata, leading to more and more metadata-driven statistical business processes. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from India. Now I call upon Timor-Leste, distinguished delegate.
Madam Chair, thank you. Timor-Leste wish to thank your advisory group body for the modernization of statistics production and service in Asia and Pacific. We welcome the report, which we believe this is timely, especially for support the post-2050 agenda. Modernization of statistic production is a good approach for increase our performance on delivery our service, but also the challenge when we didn't have the resource enough, clear manual, and then standardization. On this regards, Timor-Leste encouraged to another member country and UN agency for support development country on this important area, include a program of the capability and capacity building on this area. I take this opportunity also to express our interest in becoming a member of this technical expert. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Timor-Leste. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegate from DESA.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to express my happiness and satisfaction that there was such a broad debate here and so many people participated, because this is, of course, a very important agenda item. And I just wanted to reflect why this is so important, because essentially 2 keywords, standards and leapfrogging. Standards is really the very essence of what we are doing international community, and we develop standards for national accounts and census and all of our subject matter areas. But what we are trying to do here is also to develop standards for business practices. And why are we doing this? Because by developing standards, standards are not a straitjacket or so, but standards are our common language. This actually enables us to work together and transform effectively good experiences from one country to another. So I think this really goes to the essence of how we work together at the international level. And then I think the second element that is very important is this leapfrogging kind of idea that came through. This is not only something for a very advanced system. Perhaps, as I think the New Zealand colleague said, this is sometimes even more difficult for advanced system. And so, because I think it's particularly for countries that perhaps are in earlier stages of systematic development that can actually benefit from these reflections and move on quite quickly on the chain. So I just wanted to share these thoughts at the end of this discussion. And one additional piece of information and clarification with the global level, you have correctly made reference to our big data work, but there's another stream of work that we have just started recently, and that's obviously the reason why this is not yet reflected in the documentation. We had in January a conference in New York under the headline, A Transformative Agenda for Statistical Systems. And that builds very much on the work that is going on in the regions. I mean, we used the word transformative agenda, but because we didn't want to steal the word modernization from Europe and Asia, you had already started the work. So we are trying to build on this and bring the very essence of this work to the global level. And one of the groups that we created at the Statistical Commission, the high-level group, will also look into this agenda, and that will lead to a little bit of confusion. I'm sorry about that. Then you will have two high-level groups, one in Europe and one at the global level, but I think we'll figure it out. And one last sentence, I cannot stop my remark without saying SDMX. This is, of course, only one element of this very broad agenda, but I think it's a very important one. And I think the forthcoming conference in Bangkok here is very, very important in this respect, and I'm already looking forward to coming for a second time to Bangkok within 1 year, because this is truly important. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, distinguished delegates from DESA. Now that concludes all the deliberations, and I give the floor to Mr. Riquet to summarize.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thanks to all the interventions from delegates this morning. Let me try to summarize. First, the committee expressed its deep appreciation to the work of the SABAP as well as its modernization working group. Particular thanks was expressed to Australia for the leadership shown thus far in this matter. And in that regard, the committee noted with regret but understanding that Australia would not be able to continue its chairmanship of the SABAP. The committee strongly supported the proposals put forward by the SABAP in the documentation provided. It encouraged members to engage further in this area of work, both in the SABAP as well as in the modernization working group. The committee stressed that the issue of modernization was relevant to all national statistical systems, no matter their level of development, and in that regard stressed the high potential benefits for both more developed and less developed statistical systems through transformation and modernization. And those benefits pertain to both the quality of statistics, the timeliness of statistics, and better use of the limited resources that we all work under. The committee supported the revision of the terms of reference to ensure appropriate membership of the SABAP. It also supported the function of the SABAP to provide a global voice from the region, to provide a regional voice to the global discussions on this issue, including also their continued work to mobilize resources for modernization. The committee stressed the importance of continued regional collaboration on modernization, and in that regard supported a number of proposals as outlined in the strategy of the SABAP. Among those areas, the advocacy for transformation processes was considered particularly important, considering the need for explanation of what modernization processes entail. It recognized the urgency of transformation processes, in particular in context of the post-2015 development agenda that is increasing the demand for statistics. The committee noted the need for both paradigm and culture shifts within national statistical systems to initiate and implement transformation processes, and also noted that similar transformation efforts would be appreciated among development partners. The committee noted also that transformation processes sometimes are, and it's not necessarily a revolutionary process, but it's also an evolutionary process, and in that regard encouraged national statistical systems to ensure that decisions taken on infrastructure developments be compliant with the emerging standards for business processes, including the GSBPM, the GSIM, the DDI, and STMX. The committee stressed that when it comes to transformation, there's no competition among national statistical systems, and as such, there is great potential for further collaboration, including the development of common solutions that can be of benefit to all. The committee particularly noted the potential for exchanges of practices among countries in the region, including case studies on statistics service delivery, dissemination, metadata, new data collection technologies, and other technical assistance work. The committee, recognizing the potential for regional work, also recognized the importance of global efforts and appreciated a number of initiatives in existence or underway, and that included the high-level group serviced by the Conference of European Statisticians, the Global Working Group on Big Data serviced by UNSD, including its new initiative on the transformation of statistical systems, and also the global work that has been going on for a number of years on STMX, including the global conference that is to take place here in Bangkok later this year. Emphasizing regional collaboration on modernization, the committee noted that advocacy does start at a country level and that advocacy efforts can influence both regional and global work and regional and global partners. In that regard, the committee recognized the importance of country ownership of transformation processes as a key criteria for their success. The committee also recognized that much technical assistance work is needed because implementing transformation processes is very difficult in practice. And all members would benefit from additional assistance and collaboration. In that regard, the committee called upon development partners to integrate modernization in their ongoing and future capacity development programs and other efforts. The committee stressed that modernization should be an integral part of the ongoing regional initiatives under the auspices of the committee and the integration of modernization in the national plans for statistics development. In this regard, the committee thanked ongoing efforts by a number of partners, including those of ABS, SPC, IMF, ADB, and ESCAP. Further to the transformation processes, the committee noted the importance of additional private sector involvement, including establishing formal agreements for such exchange. One member suggested the formation of an expert group specifically focusing on bringing together IT experts and private companies. One member, particularly in reference to the ongoing capacity development project on STMX, which is focused on the balance of payment and national accounts, could be extended to include similar work on trade-related statistics. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rike, for that rich summary. Now, I move on to the second item for discussion and the final regional initiative for the committee's consideration here. That is item 3G on gender statistics. There are two documents for this agenda item which have been submitted by the Secretariat. Developing a core set of gender indicators for Asia and the Pacific, E/ESCAP/CST4/9, and core set of gender indicators for Asia and the Pacific, E/ESCAP/CST4/10. I now invite Mr. Yan Hong Zhang, Chief of the Population and Social Statistics section of the ESCAP Statistics Division, to give the introductory remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm very pleased to introduce to the committee a proposal of a regional core set of gender statistics for the committee for its consideration and adoption. The proposal has been prepared by the Secretariat. Madam Chair, at this session and at previous sessions, we've heard a lot about the need to respond to policy demands for data and statistics. Now, this proposal of a core set has been prepared specifically in response to repeated calls from the policy community to strengthen data and statistics on women and girls at national, regional, and international levels. This includes the ministerial declaration adopted at the most recent Asian and the Pacific Conference on Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment, Beijing +20 review. The proposed core set that's contained in the note prepared by the Secretariat is really an extension of a global minimum set of gender indicators that was adopted at the United Nations Statistical Commission in 2013. It further incorporates regional specific gender issues while maintaining the foundation for facilitating global monitoring. The proposed core set has been prepared through several rounds of consultations to define the scope of substantive issues, design the structure, and select and develop a list of indicators. This includes a regional review of a preliminary draft course set which was conducted in December 2014, where a questionnaire was distributed to all ESCAP member and associate members to solicit national perspectives for the finalization of the draft. The proposed concept was developed with the intention as a live reference that should be updated to reflect advancements and changes of policy discussions at various levels. It is intended as a guide for national as well as regional and international entities to set priorities to enhance the capabilities of national statistical systems to produce and disseminate gender-responsive statistics. Now, the Secretariat would like to request that the committee consider endorsing the proposed concept of the gender indicators for the region as a minimum range of gender statistics that all countries in the region can aspire to produce and disseminate, and adopt it as a guide for setting of priorities by national, regional, and international entities in enhancing statistics development. The committee may also wish to provide guidance on ways to improve the production and use of the regional concept, with an emphasis on the integration of a gender perspective across national statistical systems. I've read my note. I wanted to just highlight one point, that on the Secretariat's part, there's no plan or no suggestion to set up yet another regional initiative on gender statistics. It is our view, actually there are clear guidelines at the regional and especially the international level. The way to do gender statistics is really integration. So our view is that the core set should be used as a reference or as a guide across existing regional initiatives to adopt or to make sure that a gender perspective is integrated rather than creating a new one. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Yang Han, for that introduction. Now I open the floor for comments. First on the list is Republic of Korea. I call upon the distinguished delegate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Korea welcomes and agrees with the approach taken in the selection of indicators which were not constrained by concerns relating to limited availability, coverage, or methodology. However, we feel that an appropriate guideline will be helpful so that countries can draft national-specific methodologies for the production of statistics for these indicators. We also believe that resource constraints and the lack of awareness are the main challenges to improving gender statistics. With a budget that is already tight, we are making effort to collect gender-sensitive statistics from statistical agencies through legal measures, but the effect has been limited. Many of the official statistics do not incorporate gender issues in their surveys or at the sample planning stage, which lead to poor quality. The production of high-quality gender statistics warrants sufficient resources and the discussion regarding sound and efficient methodologies. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from the Republic of Korea. On this item, there's a big list of countries, so over 10 countries, so I would like to urge that we be brief. So now I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Japan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I commit a very brief comment. As for the proposed regional concept of gender indicators Japan agrees to the endorsement because the core set will become the reference for developing gender statistics in Asia and the Pacific to advance gender equality and empower women. At the same time, strengthening cooperation with the policy sector is required to improve implementation of the regional core set. Because the proposed indicators include administrative data held in the policy sector, other than data collected by the statistical surveys held in national statistical systems. It should be noted that in Japan, our country, a cabinet decision has stipulated efforts to collect gender statistics since 2000, and we think a similar approach would be helpful. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Japan. Now I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Pakistan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Gender statistics and gender analysis are important aspects at the start of data generation. The aim of global and regional discussion in this regard is to guide statistical organization in the production and use of gender statistics and explain the importance of producing and analyzing statistics on gender differences. The task of the National Statistical System is to produce gender-based data that accurately reflect the situation in the country. The advocacy and partnership building to convince statisticians for the use of gender statistics through communication strategies and dissemination platforms such as interactive databases and websites. Pakistan is publishing a gender compendium since last 10 years, but that is just gender disaggregation, disaggregated data, not a gender-focused data. Looking to the core set of indicators, it covered almost every relevant aspect. Pakistan would support the set for possible implementation. Committee should prioritize to focus on development of a framework and area of interest in gender perspective particularly. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Pakistan. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegates from Bangladesh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will try to be brief. Bangladesh happily welcome and endorse the proposal of regional core set of gender indicators for Asia and Pacific, as our government is very much commitment for women empowerment. We are currently working in most of the domains of this core set. We have already introduced gender sensitized variables in the surveys of household income and expenditure surveys, labor force survey, multiple indicator cluster survey, time use survey, social safety net survey, demography and health survey to fulfill the goal set by the Committee on Statistics at its second session in 2010. We have compiled Gender Statistics 2012 following UN guidelines, and we will continue this effort. We have conducted Violence Against Women Survey 2011 following UN guideline with the support of our development partner UNFPA, and probably we are the first in this survey, in doing this survey in Southeast Asia. We are going to undertake another this survey in this year following UN guideline, and we are thinking to make it a regular survey of our Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics as the demand from stakeholders is increasing. And another important issue is that it is believed that child and women trafficking is happening from our country to Asia and Pacific region, but there is no such type of statistics. So for evidence-based policy making, we have to carry out a survey on this issue, and we may need some technical support in this regard for capacity building. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Bangladesh. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegate from Afghanistan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On behalf of our statistical organization for improving gender statistics, especially for Asian and Pacific, necessarily to do following activity that which we have done or which we have implemented in our country. 1. Establishment of steering and technical committees between related organizations. 2. Gender-related indicators. 3. Establishment of gender statistics offices. 4. Organization capacity building program and dissemination of gender-related topics. Close working between UN Women and others, country and international organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Afghanistan. Now I call upon the distinguished delegates from the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to Secretariat for preparing the report. I'd like to raise one point, and that is in the list of basic domains and indicators of the regional core set, there are some indicators in domain 5, human rights of women and girls, that though they are good indicators, but they are inconsistent and incompatible with cultural and religious affairs in some countries. So it is suggested that if it is possible, these indicators, particularly V1, V2, and V3, are excluded from basic domains, or production and dissemination of them is not mandated and be optional. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Islamic Republic of Iran. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegation from Thailand.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thailand would like to offer its support for the endorsement of the core set of gender indicators in Asia and the Pacific. Thailand has actively contributed to the preparation of the core set through participation in the preparation and consultation on the draft. The core set represents an invaluable tool that Thailand can use to bridge government planning and policies to promote gender equality and data producers. The core set is also useful for focused regional efforts to improve gender statistics. One example is the measurement and valuation of time women spend in important but often unpaid economic activities, such as domestic and household work. An important source of data on this issue is time use surveys, which underlie quite a number of indicators in the core set. Thailand has been conducting time use surveys regularly. We are participating in a regional initiative to strengthen analysis and use of time use statistics in collaboration with a number of countries in the region and ESCAP. We look forward to using the courses as a guide for strengthening gender-responsive statistics in other domains as well. At the speech of the Vice Minister of Information and Communication Technology yesterday, one important tool for the NSO is the first National Statistical System Master Plan in 2011 to 2015, which was endorsed by the Cabinet. The implementation of the Master Plan requires a close working relationship between the NSO and all the ministries in Thailand, including the gender statistics. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Thailand. Now I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Russian Federation.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Как отмечается в представленном документе, раздел А «Усилия по совершенствованию гендерной статистики и соответствующих показателей на глобальном уровне», пункт 4, наибольшую озабоченность относительно наличия данных по гендерной статистике из-за их ограниченности или отсутствия вызывает также проблемные области, как образование женщин и расширение экономических прав и возможностей женщин. В этой связи предлагаем расширить перечень показателей, входящих в эти области в настоящее время, и дополнить перечень тематических областей для изучения. По нашему мнению, официальная статистическая информация содержит достаточно показателей, характеризующих гендерный состав как обучающихся по различным уровням образования, так и педагогического корпуса. Спасибо.
Thank you very much, distinguished delegate from Russian Federation. Now I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Philippines.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Philippines notes with appreciation the overall work on the development and formulation of the core gender statistics for Asia and the Pacific, and acknowledges the efforts done by the ESCAP Statistics Division in doing so. We reaffirm our support to the core set, which is an adaptation of the global minimum set of gender indicators agreed upon by the UN Statistics Commission as a guide for the national production and international compilation of gender statistics. The Philippines further reaffirms its commitment to continue the generation and improvement of gender statistics in our country through various enabling mechanisms and measures that we have already established. These are the Interagency Committee on Gender Statistics as a forum for discussion and resolution of harmonization of concepts and methodologies, the implementation and updating of our NSDS on gender and development, and continued production of statistical handbooks on women and men on a regular basis for informed decision, as well as increasing investments to generate and disseminate these statistics. We also want to emphasize the need for us to collaborate with our stakeholders, such as the Ministry of Women, the NGOs, and civil society, to enhance their appreciation and use of statistics for policy formulation and program implementation. Lastly, Madam Chair, we request that we address the continued need for more capacity building for gender statistics, as some indicators may still need to be defined and conceptualized in terms of measurement and monitoring. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Philippines. Now I call upon distinguished delegate from Samoa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I would like to somewhat endorse the proposed regional core set as the minimum range of gender statistics, as we should aspire to produce and disseminate. I propose that the committee direct the period to convene a technical working group with representatives from NSOs and development partners. Firstly, to draft the regional gender statistics strategy, and secondly, the associated implementation plan. This technical working group will obviously require terms of reference, deliverables, and meeting schedule, and members be representative of the UN agencies mandated as being responsible for the domains, like UNDP, UNFPA, UN Women, UNICEF, and most of the UN agencies. In addition, the representatives of the NSO stakeholders from the sub-regions, the technical and advisory group members must comprise colleagues from common agencies responsible for achieving gender equality to maintain the producer-user dialogue required for the strategy to be realized. I'm aware that there will be a session later today from the partners for statistical development, and I look forward to this forum recommendations for the composition and function of the technical working groups. But I would like to reinforce the recommendation that such groups must be representative of both producers and users of statistics, mandated agencies and countries from across this very diverse region. Lastly, heads of statistics office here today from the Pacific wishes to offer to host the one of the technical advisory group meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Samoa. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegate from Mongolia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mongolia welcomes the proposal that is being put forward and congratulates the work accomplished in developing this proposed core set. The Mongolia fully supports the endorsement of the core set of gender indicators for Asia and the Pacific to serve as a minimum range of gender statistics and to guide priority settings by countries as well as regional and international organizations to enhance the capability of national statistical systems to produce and use gender statistics for promoting gender equality and women's empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Mongolia. And I would like to thank all the distinguished delegates who have provided their very valuable comments and support to this important agenda item. And with that, I give Mr. Yan Hong to give a brief summary.
With Madam Chair's permission, I would like to make one clarification about the cost set. This was put together all as a, well, the language we use is that it be used as a guide, so it's not mandatory. I think I'm providing the clarification to the distinguished representative from Iran. So there's no intention, it's not the intention and it's not the plan at all to compile data from countries using the indicators. That being said, I also would like to emphasize that the particular indicators that you referred to actually are also contained in the global minimum set. So everywhere we emphasize that this is not like a reinvention of the wheel, but rather this is an extension of the what's already existing. And this is something that countries around the world have already agreed to. So I think it's up to individual countries, member countries, to decide on how they would like to set their priorities when it comes to data work in support of their policy goals. With that clarification, I would like to do my best to summarize the main interventions. The committee strongly welcomes, first of all, the proposed the core set of gender indicators for Asia and the Pacific, and strongly endorses its use as a guide for setting priorities for to strengthen the production and the dissemination of gender-related statistics at the national level. It recognizes that it's an important tool for meeting the information needs to advance gender equality and the empowerment of women, as well as for strengthening the dialogue between data producers and users. The committee also emphasized the importance of go beyond just gender disaggregation to really include a gender perspective in the planning, designing, and implementation of statistical activities to make sure that the issues that are related to gender equality and empowerment of women are adequately reflected in the data production and the dissemination. That includes surveys as well as administrative data. The committee also emphasized the importance of overcoming resource constraints to strengthening gender work, and the need to strengthen the collaboration or the dialogue between data producers as well as users that mostly refer to the ministries and the government agencies that are responsible for women's empowerment and gender equality. The committee took note of the good practices in some member states where the production and dissemination of gender statistics is included in the national statistical plans, as well as at the highest policy level, at the cabinet level. The committee heard of sharing of experiences of in some countries in collecting data on issues such as child and women trafficking, if I got it right, which is pioneering in the region. And also there was a suggestion to include or expand the indicators to reflect other important thematic issues, such as in education. There's a suggestion to revise the core set. The committee requested the preparation of technical guidelines to implement the core set, but particularly further methodological and conceptual development, as some of the areas, some of the indicators or the domains, in some of the domains, the concepts and guidelines are still lacking. The committee took note of a suggestion to set up a working group, a technical working group, to develop a strategy for national capacity building, as well as an implementation plan to carry out regional support to national efforts to strengthen gender-responsive statistics and to promote user-producer dialogue. It was emphasized that such a technical working group must be inclusive, ideally with representation from national statistical offices, other parts of the government that produce gender-related statistics, data producers as well as users, and various UN agencies that are involved in gender-related statistical work. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan Hon, for that summary. Now that concludes our deliberations of regional initiatives. So at this juncture, we will take the coffee break. So 15 minutes for the coffee break. So let's try to be here on time to start with the global initiatives. Thank you all.
Who? Yeah, he's sitting there. Because there was a lady in front.
Welcome back, everybody. Shall we start? I shall now proceed to the agenda item 4, Global Initiatives, Agriculture and Rural Statistics. Under this discussion item, there is one regular paper, Progress in Implementing the Asia-Pacific Regional Action Plan to Improve Agricultural and Rural Statistics, E/ESCAP/CST4/11. I have the pleasure to invite Mr. Mukesh Srivastava, Senior Statistician of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN Regional Action Program, to introduce this topic.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm grateful for the opportunity to introduce this agenda item. As the House knows, that the global strategy is a multi-partner global initiative, and in this region we are implementing together with ESCAP and ADB, and each implementing partner has a specified area. FAO is responsible for implementing the technical assistance component of the global strategy. I would like to acknowledge the support of DFID also as a resource partner, particularly for this region. The paper is before you, which provides information on the progress of implementation of global strategy in this region. But I would like to use this occasion to make a few points based upon implementation of technical assistance component in different countries. Let me begin by reminding us that global strategy has followed a twin-track approach for its development. It was discussed in UNSC, where all the National Statistics Office are represented. It was also discussed in FAO conference, where ministers of agriculture take part. The regional action plan was endorsed by this committee, and it was also presented to Asia Pacific Commission on Agricultural Statistics. The nature of food, agriculture, and rural statistics is different from other statistics. It covers diverse domains, including crop, livestock, fish, including aquaculture and capture, forest, rural activities, services, and value addition on farm, off farm, land and water resources, to the extent of even legal issues relating to the tenure management of land and water resources. And thus, the whole domain of agriculture and rural statistics is dispersed across different ministries and departments. Interestingly, it includes official statistics and non-official statistics, which means the forecasts, the assessments, and reports coming from administrative systems. And more often than not, it is the non-official statistics which is utilized for decision making in agriculture sector. And it is this statistics which requires methodological improvements and quality improvement methods. These agriculture statistics includes structural information which is very slowly changing, and it also includes very current information. And I was looking at the core set of economic indicators identified for this region, which were discussed yesterday, and I didn't find agriculture statistics there. But when I looked closely, I thought agriculture statistics is everywhere. So unless agriculture statistics is improved, the economic indicators or the macroeconomic statistics cannot improve. So that is the linkage between agriculture statistics and macroeconomic statistics. I need not elaborate that. And global strategy per se is now more relevant than when it was conceived, particularly because one notes that about a third of SDG indicators are coming from agriculture and rural sector. And because we are focusing now more on livelihood rather than the production, because large majority of population in many countries is dependent on agriculture and rural sectors. And now we have the challenge of adding environmental dimensions to agriculture statistics. Integration of data is being seen as the key to meet the challenge of ever-increasing demand for data. I would like to emphasize that agricultural and rural statistics sector is a part of the big national statistics system. We have thought about strategies like linking population and agriculture census to improve the availability of data in agriculture sector, and also to be able to study the economic dimension and the social dimension together. The FAO is developing a system of surveys called AGRIS, Integrated Surveys for Agriculture Sector, and soon it will be available to member countries for consideration and adaptation for their need for integrated data collection. Well, integration is a cost-effective strategy, and it offers returns to scale for data collection and enhancing the scope for data analysis to study social, environmental, and economic dimension together. Integration of agricultural statistics is more challenging than in social sectors. Now, our experience so far has indicated that coordination between data producing agencies in the agriculture and rural domain is a big issue in many countries. And the dilemma that we face is that national statistics offices do not appreciate agricultural issues in the line ministries, and the agricultural ministries do not have trained statisticians to be able to do good statistics. And in general, the capacities of ministries of agriculture to undertake statistical activities are weaker. But they have the advantage of field manpower and financial resources. So in this situation, the ministries do what they can do as they need the data very urgently, whereas the historical data, official statistics coming from NSO may be coming after 6 months of the event. And also we have observed that in many countries, the involvement of national statistics offices in the agricultural statistics has been limited to events like agricultural censuses, which are done once in 10 years. I would like to use this occasion to call upon the heads of National Statistics Office to pay due attention to this thus far neglected sector and provide the statistical leadership to this domain also. And by leadership, I do not mean the authority or controlling, I mean the partnership, pooling of resources, coordination, and collaborations. NSOs have a big facilitating role in development of agriculture and rural statistics. I'm sure within the framework of global strategy, together we'll be able to make a big difference. With these remarks, I seek the advice of committee members on the implementation of global strategy in this region. If we cannot implement your advice directly, we will go to the Regional Steering Committee, which is the governing body of the global strategy, and we will value your advice. I shall be available for any clarification at individual level at coffee time or lunch time, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Srivastava. Now I open the floor for comments. First on the list is the distinguished delegates from the Republic of Korea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, Korea would like to express its deep appreciation to FAO, Regional Office, Regional Steering Committee, ADB, and our other organizations involved for their hard work on improving cultural and rural statistics. Thanks to such effort, we have been able to make significant progress in regards to the implementation activities by the regional office, which have targeted 9 priority countries. However, as it is also noted in the report, there are some discrepant gaps between the regional and global strategy. Therefore, we would like to emphasize that it is essential to build synergies between the ongoing FA work program and the activities of the global strategy. Also, we are pleased to observe that the implementation activities of the regional action plan is expanding, where 6 new countries have been additionally selected at the 3rd meeting of the Regional Steering Committee. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from the Republic of Korea. Now I call upon the distinguished delegate from Mongolia.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to fully support the progress report in implementing the regional action plan to improve agriculture and rural statistics. Then I have 2 quick points here. It appears that at least 20 countries are to be involved in formulating and implementing a national program to improve the agriculture and rural statistics under regional action plan. At present, 18 countries have been selected. Most of them are those in the island countries where the crop farming and fruit farming are dominated. However, the representation of those with the continental climate, where the animal husbandry play an important role in the economies, are not included. We propose that these countries should be considered for the selection of the remaining countries. The second issue is relating to the food security. Implementing the project to improve agriculture and rural statistics for food security in support for the global strategy, ADB strategy, and ADB has assisted the selected countries in developing the respective national action plans and provided technical assistance to them to improve the respective agricultural data collection systems. The food security is becoming a pressing issue for the countries that important the majority of the staple foods and are vulnerable to disasters. Nonetheless, at present, there are not any common or integrated standards, methods, indicators, and the requirements for the measurement of food security. Hence, we propose that, allowing for the geographical and the regional specificity, economic states, and dominant agriculture sectors, the project should continue with the focus on developing integrated guidelines and standards and conducting necessary training to address food security issues. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Mongolia. Yesterday we were ahead of time, so we are now according to time, so if we can finish by 11:30. And there's a long list of countries, so I would like to give the floor to Lao PDR, just to be brief. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me permission to discuss on agriculture and statistics. Actually, I support the expert group have made hard work on the global initiative agriculture and statistics, but I would like to inform that the Lao PDA have organized the Agriculture and Statistics Committee for Asia and Pacific. In this meeting, that the Lao PDA have emphasized about capacity building, data collection, and dissemination. Dissemination, we focus on analyzed data.
So on this very priority for us, so that's why we set up our strategy, agriculture and statistics. That according to the master plan that we have done the strategy for the official statistics for Lao PDA. In the past that we have also that conduct the agriculture census two times. So from this, the result, we have seen that we are more focused on the land use, forestry area, and food program. The food program that not only from the agriculture census that we have shown, but from survey. So seeing that we have not matched MDGs from Lao PDA. The another one that we also that emphasize about the human development resources, because work on the statistic, agriculture and statistics is a lack of people. And the last one that we emphasize about the mapping, especially that land use, so to identify the land area, especially on agriculture. So all of them that we suggest that the Lao PDA, now that we work on the capacity building for the agriculture statistics, that we now study to make the new agriculture census. And then also that improve the new technology in terms of modernize on agriculture statistics. And last one that emphasize about the standard, the recommendation by the FAO. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Lao PDR. I would like to remind the delegates that the full country statements will be online, so please confine the oral statements on this issue to the issues presented for the committee's consideration. And with that, I would like to give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Japan.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. The government of Japan supports the implementation of the regional action plan. The Japan fully comprehends the significance of the improvement in agricultural and rural statistics in the ESCAP region. The Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fishery of Japan is supporting the work of the FAO regional office in Bangkok by dispatching experts to the office and engaged in the decision-making process of the regional steering committee as a national member, as well as providing assistance with a focus on livestock and production to some countries. The training for agricultural and rural statistics is emphasized in the SHIAP strategic plan. We appreciate the effort made by the director of SHIAP so far. The SHIAP is widely expected to play a certain role for the improvement of agricultural and rural statistics in the region. The Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications, MIC, of Japan is a cooperating agency to the SHIAP, and it will support SHIAP's training activity related to agricultural and rural statistics as much as possible. We also appreciate FAO and ADB providing their active support to SHIAP as important partners. We hope that FAO and ADB will continue to collaborate with SHIAP on conducting training effectively. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Japan. I have five more countries, so let's try to make the statements within 2 to 3 minutes. So I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Philippines.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As an active participant in crafting the global strategy to improve agriculture and rural statistics, the Philippines is pleased to note that considerable progress has been made in its implementation, and significant levels of funding from donor countries and development partners have been made available. We would like to recognize the collaboration among UNESCAP, FAO, and ADB in the implementation of the Regional Action Plan for Asia and the Pacific, with special recognition of the role of UNCCP to implement the component on capacity building. The Philippines commits to supporting the work in developing guidelines to improve the collection of food consumption data from household income and expenditure surveys. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Philippines. I call upon the distinguished delegate of Samoa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, as a recipient of the global strategy, I would just want to record our appreciation of the fact that Samoa has received a lot of technical assistance, in particular the agriculture statistics. And as a result, there has been a lot of progress made in this area back in Samoa, including the strengthening the cooperation and the coordination amongst the NSO Statistics Office and the Ministry of Agriculture. So it is a good example of an initiative that has been working, and Samoa would like to commend the FAO and all the parties that are involved in this important initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Samoa. Now I call upon the distinguished delegate of Bangladesh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bangladesh is highly committed to implement the Asia-Pacific Regional Action Plan to improve agriculture and rural statistics, as Bangladesh is one of the 9 targeted priority countries selected by the Regional Steering Committee. And still our economy is largely based on agriculture, so we are very closely working with FAO and USDA on harmonization and standardization of agricultural statistics between Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics and Department of Agricultural Extension in Bangladesh. We prepared in-depth country assessment in collaboration with FAO to know the status of our capacity in producing agricultural statistics. We undertake a program to strengthening agricultural and rural statistics in Bangladesh. And we are planning to conduct agricultural censuses in 2018, following the FAO guideline, together with fisheries and livestock census. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Bangladesh. Now I give the floor to the Afghanistan distinguished delegate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, agriculture statistics is a big part of statistics. And also the role of the agricultural statistics is very important for a national account. We thanks from FAO, WFP and others international organizations to help our country in this area. Under this, and also, as you know, Afghanistan selected by a regional steering committee to implement action plan. Under this action plan, Afghanistan has taken positive steps toward the development of agriculture statistics in the country. This organization not only collects data directly from data producer through questionnaire, but also gather such information in Afghanistan Living Condition Survey. With the support of FAO and country state, a better access has been provided to agriculture data users. Furthermore, our workshop in relation to improve the quality of statistical data has been organized by the support of OIC. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Afghanistan. Now I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Cambodia.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to express my sincere thanks and support for hard work of FAOs. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank to FAOs which supported agriculture census 2013 in Cambodia. As you know that agriculture census is the first time conducted in Cambodia. I myself, we understand that agriculture census, agriculture statistics is very crucial. It is not only for Cambodia, but in the world, whole world society. And it is important for ensuring the food security. I am very appreciate and sincerely thank to FAO for selecting Cambodia as a selected country to improve the agriculture and rural statistics. As you may have already known that Cambodia is still lack of a skillful person for this field. Within the SPARS project, hopefully we will be able to enhance the agriculture and rural statistics as well as improvement the national statistic system. By the government strategy, we set up policies to export rice and other products to abroad, 1 million tons of rice by 2015. So far, in the implementation of the agriculture census, we have a good collaboration and good coordination with all of stakeholders, as well as experts. Examples, Ministry of Agriculture, Fishery and Forestry, and others like ministries have a good coordination. So I think that Cambodia still need support for the capacity building in order to improve the methodologies, how to conduct and compile the agriculture statistics in the national level as also rural level. I would like to thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Cambodia. Now I call upon the distinguished delegate from Kyrgyzstan.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Во-первых, хотелось выразить признательность и благодарность ФАО ООН за оказываемую техническую и финансовую поддержку в совершенствовании сельскохозяйственной статистики и статистики продовольственной безопасности, производимой в Крымской Республике. Статистика сельского хозяйства всегда была и есть часть государственной статистики Кыргызстана. В сельской местности у нас в республике проживает более 65% населения, работает порядка 30% занятого населения, производится около 15% ВВП. Но производство статистики сельского хозяйства в последнее время потребляет все больше и больше количества имеющихся в распоряжении статистики ресурсов. Это более 50% человеческих, временных и финансовых ресурсов. Мы собираемся проводить в 2016 году уже вторую сельскохозяйственную перепись. Но вместе с тем довольно-таки часто качество официальных статистических данных по сельскому хозяйству подвергается критике. Поэтому Нацстатком Кыргызской Республики приветствует инициативу по совершенствованию сельскохозяйственной и сельской статистики. Спасибо.
Thank you very much, distinguished delegates from Kyrgyzstan. Now that concludes all the countries' interventions. So I'm very happy that FAO is playing such a critical role in supporting the countries. And on behalf of the Maldives, I would also like to thank you because we are also included in this support. I would now like to give the floor to Ms. Guerrero for summarizing this item.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The session was started with an introduction that with respect to the discussions so far that have been going on in the prior agenda items of this committee, the committee heard from the that the importance of agricultural statistics in affecting the accuracy of macroeconomic statistics and the relevance of the global strategy, particularly in light of the fact that a third of SDG indicators related to agricultural and rural sectors. The committee expressed very strong support for the global strategy and in particular the regional action plan and its importance for capacity building. The committee noted progress in the implementation of the regional action plan so far, and in particular, priority countries appreciated the immediate direct benefits of the various activities of the regional action plan to their national statistical systems, such as through the conduct of planning and improving of censuses of agriculture, and improving coordination between the national statistical offices and the ministries of agriculture and related ministries engaged in the production of agricultural and rural statistics. With regards to capacity building, the committee emphasized the importance of the strong collaboration between the three components: technical assistance, training, and research, and the coordination between the implementing partners. In particular, the committee expressed appreciation for the work that the FAO has done with respect to helping countries improve their statistics on food security, and emphasize the importance of training as a means of capacity building in countries in the region. With respect to recommendations on focus of the regional action plan, the committee noted that food security is a major issue among member states in the region, and therefore recommends that and noted the need for standards and frameworks and recommended that integrated guidelines and training be provided to build capacities to countries for collecting data and analyzing statistics on food security. The committee also expressed appreciation for the selection of the 9 initial priority countries and the importance of having expanded the priority countries to at least 15 additional ones, and noted that there is a need to include countries so that they represent the various types of agricultural systems and geographic regions, which takes into account the variation in challenges in agricultural, in the collection of agricultural data. Madam Chair, I think that captures the major comments.
Thank you very much, Ms. Guerrero. who is also the director of the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, for that excellent summary. If there's any point missing in the summaries, all the delegations are welcome to add. Is there any point or? No, thank you. We would like to complete the discussions on the next agenda item before lunch, so we might have to take a bit of the lunch time if it is extending. So I would like to move now to the agenda item 5, coordination for the statistics development, and the first sub-item is on statistical training. Under this discussion item, there's one paper that is provided by CEAP, Report of the Network for the Coordination of Statistical Training in Asia and the Pacific, E/escape/CST4/12. I now have the pleasure to invite Ms. Gemma van Helderen, First Assistant Statistician, Population Education and Data Integration Division of the Australian Bureau of Statistics, to introduce the topic.
Thank you very much. At its third session of the Committee of Statistics in December 12, the committee endorsed the objective strategy and mechanisms for improving regional coordination of statistical training that was proposed by a working group on regional coordination. The following year, in September 2013, the Bureau of the Committee of Statistics established the Network of the Coordination of Statistical Training in Asia and the Pacific, and asked the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific to be the secretariat. In deliberating on the roles and responsibilities of the group, the Bureau concluded that its key role should be to facilitate information sharing and coordination among statistical training institutions, rather than just providing advice. The first meeting of the network was held in 2014 with 24 organisations, 12 from member states and 12 from international organisations, and 1 university. The meeting agreed on a scope, strategies and objective of coordination of training activities that would be relevant for coordination. The group also identified a number of mechanisms for coordination, including a regional training needs assessment, maintaining and sharing databases of regional technical cooperation initiatives, building a database and website for collecting and disseminating information on capacity building activities, sharing people, training and infrastructure, producing training materials, and acting as focal points for sub-regional initiatives that bring network activities to the attention of sub-regional organisations. The members crafted an initial 2-year work program, and that work program is given on page 5 of the current report. It's got a number of strategies to improve communication, to share and produce common materials, to facilitate the identification of training gaps, to standardise competencies and classifications of tasks and activities of statistical personnel, to engage with regional programs, to establish coordination linkages with sub-regional training initiatives, and to establish subgroups on specific statistical areas, starting with the subgroup on training for agriculture and rural statistics that will link and support the training component of the Asia-Pacific Regional Action Plan of the Global Strategy to Improve Agriculture and Rural Statistics that we just heard from the FAO. Focusing on the initial outputs and means of implementation for strengthening coordination of statistics training in the region of the network, the committee is invited to address these 2 points, which are shown here on the slide: providing guidance on the initial program of work, and discussing and providing views on the role of the subgroup on training for agriculture and rural statistics. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Van Helden, for that introduction. The floor is now open for comments from the distinguished delegations. Sorry for that. Now I call upon the distinguished delegate from New Zealand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Statistics New Zealand supports the development of a coordinated approach to determining and meeting statistical training needs of the Asia-Pacific region. We also express our appreciation for the work of the network in putting together an initial program of work and confirm that we feel that this program of work is extremely important and relevant for the region, and we wholeheartedly support it. We would also like to take the opportunity just to let the meeting know that New Zealand is quite active in supporting training needs in the region. We have an e-learning course in economics for non-economists, for example, and within our resource constraints we endeavour to support coordinated activity in this area with a particular focus on assisting smaller Pacific NSOs. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from New Zealand. Now I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Pakistan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We believe that the capacity building is a continuous process for any national statistical office. Almost every national statistical office has statistical training centers for its employees' capacity buildings. Pakistan Bureau of Statistics plan to establish and upgrade the old one statistical training center to an international level institution for official statistics training and related subjects for local as well as other countries of the region. The construction of the center has been started in 2014 at Lahore and hopefully will be completed in 2018. Pakistan can afford to be a partner in coordination of statistical trainings. Pakistan fully support the proposed program of work for the network and the subgroup. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Jan, distinguished delegate from Pakistan. Now I call upon the distinguished delegate from Japan.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Japan highly appreciates the effort of the Australia as the chair of the organization meeting of the network, as well as other member countries, and the director of SIAP for playing a key role in holding the initial meeting and for formulating its program of work. The SIAP is expected to serve as a secretariat of the network, despite its resource constraints, and to play a leading role in respective subgroup. Japan will continue to support the activity of SIAP as much as possible to ensure that it can carry out its proper training programs smoothly. In addition, information sharing is indispensable to ensure effective coordination of training among the countries and the international organizations. In this regard, we do hope that all members of the network will continue to provide active cooperation for SIAP. Moreover, regarding the subgroup for training on agricultural and rural statistics, Japan expects that the continued effort to achieve the goal of the regional action plan would be made and will also provide as much support to SIAP as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Japan. Now I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Thailand.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I would like to fully support the network. NSO Thailand is one member of this network. We are pleased to be able to collaborate with Asia and the Pacific region, ESCAP, and the international agencies. I would like to share that now we are planning to have a regional training on seasonal adjustment for labor force survey and small area estimation on household survey, which will be supported by UNESCAP and SIAP. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Thailand, for that information. Now I call upon the delegation of Bangladesh, distinguished delegate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In Bangladesh, we have a statistical staff institute in our Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics. And recently we are going to make it into a training academy, as our Act 2013 given us mandate for an independent statistical training academy. As such, we are preparing a proposal on establishing a training academy to the Cabinet for its approval. And so in this regard, we seek support from SIAP and we welcome SIAP for hosting this type of training program in Bangladesh. And we are very much thankful to SIAP for arranging some of the training program previously in Bangladesh. We are very much capable enough to host regional statistics training program in Bangladesh to build the capacity of statistical staff to produce good quality official statistics by the National Statistical System. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Bangladesh. Now I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Russian Federation.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Мы поддерживаем мнение Новой Зеландии и других коллег, которые дали положительную оценку по подготовке доклада CD-координации. Так же, как и представители Японии, мы хотели бы подчеркнуть роль СИАТа в вопросах профессиональной подготовки статистиков в регионе. Россия поддерживает намерение продолжать дальнейшее взаимодействие в рамках программ обучения и сообщает, что в рамках добровольного взноса Российской Федерации в ESCAP запланировано очередное выделение средств на реализацию запланированных СИАТа программ. Помимо финансовой поддержки, также выражаем готовность обмена экспертным опытом, наработанным Росстатом по различным областям статистики. Спасибо.
Thank you very much, distinguished delegate from Russian Federation for the offer of this financial support. Now I give the floor to the distinguished delegate from Lao PDR.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, you want to thank a lot that the expert group have worked on the coordination for statistic development. I have some comment. First, you want that I support the idea the participants have make, particularly the SIAP program. So this is very important for Lao PDA in the past, and then increase the capacity building for us. Additional, we have two suggestions for the training. First, that we would like to emphasize about advocacy. We think that advocacy is very important because that from our we just conducted the population census last month. We have seen that if that people understand what we carried out, what we so advocacy tool, that is very important. So we think, and then we have the conduct our survey, the how they using that official statistic, so people understand or not that we have the public or disseminate our data. So we see that many people in public that not really how to say that they need the data from the statistic, and then what really that data say from the so that we think that very important advocacy. The second is the data analysis. So the training, I think that one for Lao PDA, because that we have a lack of skill to analyze data. This one, why? Because that when we talking about user and producer to match the need between that what we produce and what that user need. So if we have a good reputation on data analysis, we think that good, effective. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Lao PDR. Now I would like to give the floor to our distinguished delegates from DESA, UNSD Director.
Thank you very much. Just a brief remark. I've been following this discussion quite attentively, and I congratulate the region for this initiative. And I hope there is no property right on this, because I want to steal the idea for the global level. I think, so I'll discuss the copyright issues with Marge. It is an excellent initiative, and as I already mentioned in my opening statement, there are some training activities here in the region that are quite unique, and I think this needs to be elevated to the global level. So I'm looking forward to all the main players to also participate in a possible network that at some point later this year I'm trying to create, to bring together also training institutes from other parts of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stefan. Now, before actually giving the summary, I would like to thank all the distinguished delegations and for the comments that we have made, you have all made on the appreciation of the important role that CEP is playing in this region, and for offering the collaboration in these efforts and offering information on what is available at the country level. And here I would also like to add our appreciation that the support that CEP is giving to Maldives also in our capacity building. So with that, I will now give the floor to Ms. Guerrero to provide us with a brief summary of the key points.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. To summarize the key points, first of all, of the committee endorsed the proposed program of work as contained in the report of the regional of the network. Secondly, the committee expressed the committee recommended that in terms of prioritization of the areas of work, it would be important to look at strengthening information sharing, using the network to provide a coordinated delivery of training on technical topics such as those mentioned on seasonal adjustment, and there's one other, and as well as looking at analysis of data and the area of advocacy for statistics development. The committee, members of the committee also indicated that there are opportunities for strengthened coordination through new or upgraded training institutions and training capacity in member states. The committee expressed appreciation of the role of CEP as secretariat to this network, and also made commitments to the provision of further support, both financially and in the terms of experts, for the work to facilitate the functions of the network. The committee noted that following the model of this regional network, there is an initiative to establish a global network of training institutions in the near future. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Marge. So I think we have been able to do a good job with time management. So before breaking for lunch, which is for 2 hours, I will just hand over to the Secretariat for some administrative matters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, just 2 very quick items. First, could I kindly, on behalf of the Secretariat, could we kindly request that delegates refrain from removing the photographs pinned up on our storyboard outside of key moments taking place throughout the committee? All of those photographs and the final storyboard will be made available to all of the delegates following the meeting. The second is to note that having just endorsed a regional call set on gender statistics, or indicators I should say, now is a particularly good time to conduct an expert panel discussion, which will take place in 45 minutes at 12:45, well, 50 minutes actually, in this room with the title From Gender Statistics to Gender Equality Policy. Some of the questions put before the panel will include data for gender-responsive budgeting and planning, climate change, disaster and gender, engendering census, and success stories about gender statistics. So I would just like to, one more time, encourage all delegates to please come for that panel discussion if they can. Thank you very much. At 12:45. Just in case I haven't been sufficiently clear, the panel discussion will start at 12:45 and will conclude at 1:45. Thank you.
So the lunch time is actually 45 minutes.